uses a lot of technology, but the real magic is the people.
Jerry, I think it's time for a dance move.
I have great friends that work here. We laugh, we joke, but we also get our job done. We support each other, and we just rock it out. There's so many people coming together to create one goal.
Everybody always wants to make sure you're safe and having fun. Work friends turn into work family.
And welcome to Arts on the Move podcast. I am your host, Calypso, and thank you so much for joining us. Today's show, I have my guest co-host, radio personality Mark Wallengren, who was on our second episode, if you remember. And we have Paul Lobster Wells from Flow Communications. I'm going to ask him why they call him the Lobster, because I'm really curious. And then we have Eddie and Caitlin from Plastic Culture. And we have Laura Espinoza, guitar songwriter. And then we also have Mindy Milborn, lead songwriter and singer from Make Believe Friends. So, concert season begins Sunday, June 27th. I know we're all excited because we really can't wait. And we have it with R&B sounds of Terrell Edwards, Brittany Crush, and Aviva. We also have Councilman Bob Blumenfield's July 4th extravaganza, and it's hosted by the Woodland Hills Porsche, with opening acts Alunis and main act Ticket to Ride. So for all the information, make sure you head on over to valleyculture.org for all the information. Okay, so big congratulations to the class of 2021. You guys made it. The daughter of our chair of the board, Sarah, graduated from Moore Park College. Congrats to you. She's on her way to the Sonoma State University. Also, congratulations to Etiwanda High School and Huntington Beach High School. And because now it's time to go adulting. I don't know what's next after that. Sorry, I can't tell you. I'm still trying to adult, actually, by the way. Okay, so before we get started on the show, I just have to share with you. I don't know if I'm a little disappointed, but a little thrown off because I found out today that our Arts on the Move podcast show crew today just has really bad fashion sense, especially my boss. Okay, because we were going back and forth on what shoes to wear for today. I started with the blue shoes. I don't know if you could see them. And then one of the sound engineering crew, audio crew, said to wear the leopard one. And then they said, well, no, this one looks better. So honestly, I just wore the blue ones, and I literally just changed my shoes like 5 or 6 times today. I literally was just like back and forth. They're old-fashioned and they're old farts. And you know what? I wore red lipstick today just to make them cringe. And I know I can hear her cringing right now. She is so upset right now, and that's okay. But you know what? Right after this messages, we're going to come back with all of our guests, so make sure you stay on in.
Rock Seller Magazine.
Hi, I'm Lisa Loeb, and I have a brand new album out.
I just want to let you know I have a new record out called Run to Me.
Hi, we're Pablo Cruz.
Check out our new single.
I've got new music.
I got a new hip. No, not that kind of hip.
Contests, giveaways, prizes. Daily free newsletter. Never miss out. Rock music news delivered. rocksellermagazine.com/subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the Valley Cultural Foundation's Arts on the Move event. I'm Congressman Brad Sherman from America's best named city, Sherman Oaks. If you or someone you know is having trouble dealing with any federal agency, perhaps a stimulus payment or difficulty with a PPP loan for small business, call my Constituent Services Office at 818-501-9200. My staff works very hard, they'll solve your problem, and then I, Brad Sherman, take the credit. I think that's a great system. Again, our number is 818-501-9200. I'm Congressman Brad Sherman.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you are having a great one so far. So I am here with my guest co-host, Mark Wallengren, who's radio host personality of Los Angeles radio. And, I'm excited because Mark was with us on our second episode. Hey, Mark, how are you? Come on in and join us.
Thank you. It's good to be here again, and you look great and love what's going on right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And also, who do we have also joining us? I believe, okay, we're going to let Paul in the room.
Paul's in the house.
Oh, I love that intro.
The Lobster.
Okay, the Lobster.
All right, we're unmuted and back on camera. Hello.
Paul Wells, the Lobster. Welcome to the show from Flow Communications. Hi, how are ya?
Doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing fabulous. I don't know if you heard earlier, but I have a crazy boss who says that I don't match my shoes. So I wore red lipstick today just to make her tick, and I'm going to wear these blue shoes on every single show.
I can't see the shoes or the color of them.
Okay, but just know that they're blue and they match my top.
Uh-huh.
Well, this is quite the group today. Let's start with each of you introducing yourselves and telling our audience a little bit about yourselves, starting with Mr. Mark Wallengren.
Well, as you know, my name is Mark Wallengren. I worked at Coast 103 Radio in Los Angeles for 35 years, 30 of those in the morning show. And I have been in between gigs now for a little while, and enjoying the time, especially during the pandemic. It was a great time to find yourself having to stay home and not do much of anything. I had a marvelous career in Los Angeles, working for during the entire run of my career, which is in small towns as well. Just a great opportunity to see how things go from small markets into major corporations, into beyond major corporations, but giant conglomerates. So hopefully, we've got something to be able to share with you to help you out as you're making your way through the biz.
That's awesome. And then next to you, we have Mr. Lobster. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm digging that name because I never heard nobody call themselves a lobster.
I'm the only one on radio or TV that calls himself Lobster. And if that weren't true, there would be a lawsuit. and as Mark knows, I know that Mark has a real distinction. To be able to be at the same radio station doing mornings for 30 years is like a year is like dog years in radio. So you can multiply that by 7 for the equivalent. It's an incredible achievement. I had 1 year on the radio in LA doing mornings at KNAC after I had a brief experience at KMET, the Mighty Met, before we helped at KNAC to blow it up by taking away all their 18 to 24-year-olds, their guys.
I remember that. I remember that.
We were heavy metal and with a vengeance. And I considered that period of my life exile on Main Street. So I started my radio career at a college in New York, visiting my brother who was a grad student at Stanford. I really loved the weather, the atmosphere, and there were 5 FM rock stations, which I determined I wanted to do. And at that point, the name The Lobster had been the van that I got when I managed a band when I was 19 or 20 years old in Brooklyn. And it was a blue van, and there was a thing that a friend of mine wrote a poem to Robin Trower's guitar playing. So it kind of worked out to be my name, but he had a vision of a lobster that was turning knobs and pushing buttons while music was playing. And when you realize that's the gig of a DJ, I kind of fulfilled the vision. In Alice in Wonderland, there's a talking lobster. So I fulfilled that vision too. Is that I discovered radio by accident because I went to college to become a veterinarian. I started doing college radio, and then it kind of got stuck in my craw, so to speak. And so I've stuck with it.
When you come in as a lobster, is there like a certain voice that you come in, like when you're doing a talk break? I'm always curious about that because you know how each radio
the cartoon character.
No, like can you show us if you do?
Well, no, I don't. But there is a voiceover
You let me down.
because it's part of National Lampoon's Radio Hour, and it's Bill Murray going, "Everybody get out of here! There's a lobster loose." And they even put that on billboards in San Francisco when I worked for CBS's The Rocker, which is now Alice. It had a sex change many years ago. and became Alice instead of the rocker. But that's San Francisco for you.
Yeah.
I made my own joke about San Francisco, so that's it. No more jokes.
And if Paul, if I could say, I mean, San Francisco, such an incredibly important music market. I mean, if you look at what happened there in the rock world in the 60s with Bill Graham and so on and so forth. And interestingly enough, I mean, I remember when it changed over to Alice, and Alice it still survives. I mean,
it's doing quite well. Yes.
Yeah. So and let's see what it was. I guess it was what is it? John Lasseter, who was with Pixar, who came down here and he would come on my show in the morning and talk about how much he missed being in the San Francisco Bay Area listening to Alice. And he was, I guess, a regular on that station. So anyway, just San Francisco is a hugely important music market in this country.
It's a cultural place. To me, it's where East meets West, North meets South, and none of that matters. Yep. All cultures collide in San Francisco.
Yeah,
and we somehow get along with each other. Don't ask me how. Must be the water.
So, question: what do you find most joyful in radio after all these years?
If you ask me that question, because I do Lobster Sunday brunch at 97.7 The River once a week, so yes. Well, I mean, it's branding, right? I'm on from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sunday. It's Sunday brunch time. I'm Lobster, ergo. And what I find still to this day is the discovery. I always enjoyed the joy juice was discovering new artists, championing new artists, even going back to the early progressive rock days of Journey. And we, at the radio station I was in the South Bay, were the first to play Police in any kind of regular rotation in America when A&M Records didn't even think that the Police were worth releasing. It had stiffed in the UK. And we had the import 45 of Roxanne, and we started playing it like it was a hit, and ta-da, it became a hit. So that's always been part of the joy juice, watching people that I've known before anybody cared about them. And Tom Petty is another example of just people we got into playing. And Plastic Culture, who we have on the show today, is my Lobster's Adopt an Artist winner for 2021.
What name did you call them? You called them a specific name, right? Is it the
Plastic Culture?
No, wasn't it like the
Adopted Artist?
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Mark. He heard that. Yeah, the Lobster's Adopted Artist of the Year. They're the 2021 Adopted Artist.
Wow.
I find something I like. It appeals to my ears. I hear something. I see something that I think that there's a total package there, and they check off different right boxes in the time and place. I mean, what I liked in the 70s or 80s or 90s or even the aughts doesn't necessarily apply, or the teens. Where are we now? 2021. We're pretty well into the 21st century now.
Being in radio and you listen to a new song, let's say that you're being introduced to a new song, do you right off the bat now, or let's listen again, maybe 3 more times and it'll grow? Has that ever happened to where, no, I think there's something in the song? Explain that theory a little bit, because I'm like right away, no, if this song's not gonna, no, I'm sorry, I'm not flowing with it.
Fortunately, I had no big corporation, no consultant, and when I was hired to be music director, I was told, we're hiring you to do your thing, not our thing. So I had complete control over the music, but what I did was I had all the DJs join me. And if they wanted free records, which was, an important thing.
That's how we got it. We went into the PD's office. The PD distributed the free records. This is what I'm liking. And yes. I love this story because this is so familiar in the sense of getting everybody together and listening.
Right, but they didn't get free records if they didn't review albums.
Exactly.
And my air staff was my focus group. So if the Space Cadet and the Cowboy liked the same record, then I knew we were on to something, even if I didn't necessarily like it. And yeah, there were some records where instantly, yeah, that's it. It's got it. I don't know what it is, but it's got it. And there were also songs that would just kind of wear the groove in on me. But, back in the vinyl days, we'd listen to the first cut on side one, the first cut on side two. If we didn't hear it, the record would get put aside. If we didn't hear it in those first two songs, and then people would say, "Oh yeah, well check out track 3." But we didn't play what the record companies were pushing as the hit or the single. We played what we felt resonated with our audience, and we let them ultimately decide.
And he's bringing up a really good point, because boy, have times changed. Because now, with the consolidation of these companies and one company owning everything, and the fact that everything is based on advertising revenue, and since the digital age and social media, all of a sudden that revenue has been literally cut into by enormous amounts. Therefore, companies have had to cut back costs in order to try to stay afloat. And as a result, what's happened here,
mute, Mark.
Yeah, it is, believe it or not, it is on mute. That's so funny. But the point is that those old days that Paul is talking about, unfortunately, have gone to a new day where we are now regional programming, and the record labels are literally dictating what radio plays, and radio is not necessarily playing what radio or individual music and program directors would necessarily pick, or even, they would be played the song the label wants, and that the song the label is going to push. But it's been decades for me, well, at least since the 2000s, that radio executives have had a big say in what's getting played on the radio. Labels seem to dictate that these days.
To a certain extent, but then you have iHeartMedia, which really will do a thing that will push somebody out to all their stations, and they'll give you a lot more consideration if you play their iHeart Music Festival. Yeah. So they have ways of leveraging exactly what they get and from what label. But as far as regional, what Mark is talking about there is we used to be able to have local hits become regional hits, or let's take Tom Petty and the Police, because there was a program director on BCN in Boston that came from one of the Bay Area radio stations. And so between Boston and the San Francisco Bay Area, artists would get airplay where they weren't getting played nearly anywhere else. And John Scott, who lives in the Valley and became the promotion head for the label ABC, and then they merged with MCA, he came into his office with a stack of records in the closet that was being ignored. And he saw the Tom Petty cover and just figured he'd give it a listen. And they had already just wasn't any good. And then he decided he wanted to work the record, and then he looked at the sales, and out of something like 22,000 copies, and that's all that had sold after something like 6 months of the release. After that much time and 22,000 copies, something like 17,000 were from the Boston and San Francisco Bay Areas, period. And that's where John, having been a DJ in Memphis and knew how to do it, said, well, if you could break them out in 2 markets, they could be a hit anywhere. Right. And that kind of pipeline doesn't exist right now.
Okay, well, hold that thought, because we're going to go have a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Tim Gaspar with Gaspar Insurance, and we are thrilled to announce that we're the proud sponsor of the Valley Cultural Foundation's new Arts on the Move podcast. The Valley Cultural Foundation does fantastic work here in the San Fernando Valley, bringing arts and music and culture to all of us. Did you know U2's first concert in the United States was right here in Reseda at the Reseda Country Club? And Bruno Mars was actually discovered in Woodland Hills at Pickwick's Pub? Very, very cool. As the leading auto and home insurance agency in the San Fernando Valley, we're thrilled to be a part of all of this. And as part of this podcast, if you call our office and get a quote for auto, home, or earthquake insurance, you'll get a $10 Amazon gift card just for making the call. So please call one of our team members today. Go to gasparinsurance.com and let us know that you heard about us on the podcast. Now, enjoy the podcast and have a great day.
And welcome back to the show. As promised, we have Eddie and Caitlin from Plastic Culture. Hello, and then also have Laura Espinosa from Make Believe Friends joining Mark and Paul. And also we have Mindy Milbourne, who's the lead singer and songwriter of Make Believe Friends. Oh, we have quite the group today. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
One more for a pitcher, and we have a ball team.
That's right.
And a catcher. Could use a catcher.
Yeah, definitely. How are you?
So Eddie and Caitlin, we had them on the second episode. Want to go ahead and introduce yourselves really quick?
Yeah, my name is Caitlin.
I'm Eddie.
We're Plastic Culture. I'm the lead singer and co-songwriter.
And I am the multi-instrumentalist and co-songwriter as well.
And then
that's us.
You don't have your guitar today?
Look what's behind him.
Wow. A
Wow.
lot of guitars there. Question, how many guitars do you own?
Oh, I'm going to let Caitlin answer that one.
I don't know, too many. He owns a lot. He owns a whole account. I don't know.
I have about like 10 working professional guitars and then like 20 projects that are just sitting.
At least.
You can never have too much guitars.
Kind of like women's shoes. Can't have too many shoes.
Exactly. For guitarists, guitars are like shoes. I think I'll wear the red one today. I don't feel like pumps, maybe flats.
Yes, right now, right? And then we have next to you guys, I don't know if you can see it, but we have Laura Espinosa, one of our emerging artists, who's also a radio host personality. And next to you, we have Mindy Milbourne. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves, please.
Hey, hello, I'm Mindy Milbourne, and as you said, I am the lead singer for Make Believe Friends. Laura and I are kind of the core members of the group, and it's an alt-rock band. We're based in LA, and yeah, so we've got some new music coming out soon. Really excited about that.
I'm Laura Espinosa. I am the other half of the better half. So yeah, I write for the band also with London Rain, which we were Cleopatra recording artists a long time ago. And then with Mindy, we are now Make Believe Friends, which is an awesome combination of really talented people. And we have a new single coming out in July, which we're excited about. We're going to debut it probably at the Mint, and then of course playing at the Valley Cultural Center coming up here very shortly in Woodland Hills event.
Congrats!
Cool.
And you also are a radio personality as well.
Yes, I'm a DJ at KBUU FM in Malibu, just a small station. Previously, general manager at KOH, KTHX in Reno, where we actually launched, Bruce Van Dyke and I launched the first X format a long time ago. And then worked in Fuller Jeffries in Sacramento at a bunch of radio stations there, and in Santa Rosa at a bunch of radio stations there.
I know so many people in radio that actually got kind of started in bands. Was radio first and then band, or did you always do them at the concurrently?
I'll try to make this as short as possible. Started in Phantom Music with Matt Sorum being my first drummer. It was eventually with Guns N' Roses. We started together in high school in Mission Viejo. I then went to work on Stevie Wonder's Secret Life of Plants, but then left music to work in television. Spent a lot of years television, won 3 Emmys with Disney. Then went to radio for a while, and then left it all and decided to just get my degree in law. Currently going to Harvard Law School in copyright, and have my paralegal degree at UCLA, and doing my radio show.
You're amazing. You're
not do?
absolutely amazing.
It's like, what don't you do, Laura? That's seriously what we say around here.
Yeah.
What do you do?
For me, when I got started in radio, I really wanted to be a musician. And so growing up in the Studio City, North Hollywood, San Fernando Valley area, I played in a garage with a whole bunch of kids that I still know to this day. And all those kids ended up becoming, well, most of them members of Toto, but there were also these, so it was Steve Lukather, guitarist Michael Landau, the Picaro brothers, David Page, all those people. And it was kind of like the musicianship got so amazing and technical, and this is 70s prog rock, And I just thought, I'm a Ringo. There's no room for, you got to be absolutely massively proficient. And so I just ended up kind of finding my way to radio because I loved music and it kept me close to it. So you did much more than that. And you're going to law school. It's like...
Can't top that one. Questions for either. What inspires you to write and what comes first, the lyrics or the score?
Well, I guess for Laura and I'll just say she usually comes up with a riff and plays it for me or puts together somewhat of an arrangement of a song and presents it to me. And then I just listen to it and start just la-la-laing to it, for better, for worse. And then some words start to come together and then a feeling comes. And that's when I just start to put down words to it. So it's usually something like that, very collaborative for us.
Yes. It's pretty much a team effort almost all the time, whether it's the music first or lyrics first.
Yeah.
And plastic culture, do you want to answer that?
I mean, it's pretty much the same. I think it's kind of the same for any duo. We're also a duo. And I mean, sometimes he comes up with a riff, or I'll think of lyrics and like a beat in my head and I'll kind of hum it out and he'll just start doing it and we'll just create something.
I guess it really depends on how we feel,
Yeah.
Whatever mood you guys are in, right?
Yeah.
We're multi-genre, so we like to dip our feet in a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I would just like to know, where do you each feel you are versus where you think you should be? And what are currently the biggest obstacles that you're trying to overcome?
For us, our biggest thing, I think, like the last time we talked, was just playing our own manager, because we're really busy with booking shows and booking festivals and podcasts and all this different stuff. So we thought it would be a little bit easier to have somebody take that off our belt. Luckily, since the last time we talked, there is a legendary Oscar-nominated, Grammy-nominated producer named Ronnie King that heard us, really liked us, and wants to work with us in multiple ways. So his assistant is trying to come in and play that role for us. So luckily, that was our biggest obstacle, I feel like, and it's now being cut down.
Yeah.
But I'll let Oscar explain what he feels like his biggest obstacle is.
I mean, really, pretty much the same thing. Like, I think we're thankful and grateful this year because like we've met so many different people, like including Paul and Ronnie and just like other people we can't mention yet. But we're hopping on our first festival this year, which is great. The first. And like it's awesome working with people that have that credibility because it's like he's worked with Tupac.
Yeah, he's been on Tupac, The Offspring, Big Dog, like all that to Pepper and stuff like that. But it's not just that; it's people like
Mariah Carey,
Mariah Carey, Paul, and Ronnie that like
Tom Petty with Paul as well.
Believe in us and back us up. I feel like that's very important for any type of any emerging artist. You need somebody in your corner backing you up.
Yeah,
we're very grateful for that. And that was another struggle that we didn't have that now this year we seem to have.
And when you say backing you up, are you talking financial? Are you talking, emotional, creative? What?
Not telling people, hey, Plastic Culture's the new band. You need to get them on this. You need to get them on that.
Yeah, helping to spread the word.
Right. So the voice, you're saying that it's really great to have a voice in your corner so you're not having to, disguise your voice when you call on the phone and saying, these guys are unbelievable.
We sent Paul to go get him. Paul would just beat him up and just be like, hey, Plastic Culture, listen to them.
Much better to have someone championing you to somebody and talking you up rather than you're trying to toot your own horn in this business.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people that you need to get the attention of, they're already deaf to that. They don't want to hear it, especially if they're in a position to do something where they get hit up by everybody from an aspiring musician to some charity that is looking for someone to give them money, and even an old fraternity that they might have belonged to in college. Because I met Paul Simon at a Neil Young show, and it's legendary in that particular fraternity that I was at a different branch of the City University of New York than he was, and Garfunkel was in Columbia. And I mentioned it to him, and he said, yeah, and they never let me forget it. that he was in that fraternity. It's like he dropped out. I got out of college and went into music because music was my life, and it's my life's work. But the thing that if other people are hearing you, that's what impresses even the record labels. And what really impresses them at this point is if you really can manage to move through social media where you have large numbers.
Okay, well,
they want to sign some act that's already got 100,000 to 1 million people following them.
Let me reinterpret that for him. That means that you as an artist have got to do all the work. The label only wants to come in for the cleanup.
They'll come in when they know it's more of a sure thing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, once had an A&R guy at a label tell me,
hold that thought right there.
Job is they don't do anything.
You guys, hold that thought
Yes.
right there, because this is very interesting, because we're getting into social media. But before we do that, Laura did actually send us a video before we go on to commercial, and I want to go ahead and show that to you guys. Laura, really quick briefing, tell us a little bit about that video that you sent to us.
Okay, this is I think this is the song "Thank the Academy." Mindy and I co-wrote this song. It's basically Jesus, I don't know how to describe it. She wrote the lyrics on it, so I know better than I do. But it was just more of a driving song we wanted to put out, but we put out during the pandemic. And so we've held off other releases in the meantime, except for one. And now that the pandemic's over, we can release new songs. But this is called Thank the Academy, and it's co-written by us both by Make Believe Friends. listen.
was amazing.
I love that.
Rock on.
Love
You guys
that.
are baddies. You guys are baddies. Okay, we do also have a video from Eddie and Caitlin that they're going to also be showing us home where the heart is. But we're going to go later on, but we're going to have a word from our sponsor, so don't go away.
Joe Andrews here, Pinnacle State Properties. My wife Katie and I want to take a moment to say thank you very much for all your support throughout the years. And you know what? We have, over the years, have been supporting the Valley Cultural Foundation. The Valley Cultural Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit that brings the community together. Whether it be arts, music, there's nothing like the Valley Cultural Foundation. So give them a call, find out what it is they do, and be part of it. In the meantime, if you're thinking about buying and selling real estate, give Joe and Katie Andrews a call, and you can reach us at joeandkatieandrews.com. We're proud to be part of the Pinnacle State family. So thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon.
Westfield Topanga is open with over 200 retailers ready to serve you. Westfield Reward members can earn 2.5% cash back when you shop at any Westfield Topanga and the Village store or restaurant, and up to $750 cash back when shopping luxury. So sign up today and get exclusive access to events, gift with purchases, and more. Visit westfield.com/Topanga or text 818-306-5956 to learn more. After a year of keeping seniors safe during COVID-19, the Los Angeles Jewish Home is now delighted to welcome back new residents as well as participants to their community-based services. To learn more, visit lajh.org. Welcome back to the show. I don't want to lose the momentum that we had. I want to continue it because it was, I don't know if you guys heard me earlier, but that video was amazing. You guys were just like baddies, and I was like rocking to it, and I was like, that's you guys? That's amazing. And then what else don't you do?
So many things.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
That was good. I really liked it. So we've all been talking about what radio used to do to support the artists and what they do now. Can you, I mean, I guess this goes out to, you know, going back to Paul Lobster or Mark. We were talking about social media, and I wanted you to continue, you know, finish that because I feel it's so crucial how we didn't have social media before, obviously, when you guys started radio, but right now social media is so crucial, like the followings, the algorithms, the hashtags. I mean, where do I start? You know, where do I begin? You know, and I know Plastic Culture is always on top of, you know, their social medias, and I know do you really have to be constantly posting every single day?
Well, yeah, I mean, but we don't like to. There's a lot of things that we have to do today that we really don't like and feel that's natural for us to do. But since it's kind of like the name of the game now, we have to take part of it. So unfortunately, yeah, but it is what it is, and we try to stay up with it. We try to post, you know, like up to par content and whatnot, songs, shows we're gonna do, you know, news about the band, what's going on. But I'm honestly, I think both of us do love that mystery that used to exist, like kind of like with the Doors or some bands from way back when, like from the 60s and 70s, where you would find out about stuff like through magazines or whatnot. Social media, I feel like, has also hurt artistry in a way because you get judged by the following and also not necessarily by the content of what you're creating, but everybody's competing, and sometimes you're just posting a bunch of some crap, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but yeah, constant. So it's kind of like you get over flooded with a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily always showing the best side of the artist, but you have to do that because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
You have to be there. You have to have a presence.
Yeah.
I mean, radio was the social media when I first got into radio.
Yeah.
We were it. We interacted with the listeners. We interacted with the musicians. We had listener personals on the air. We had all these things going on, buy and sell, trade stuff. We were a conduit for all that and information, community information. And now you have to have a skill set if you're a musician, or have enough money to pay people with the skill sets or develop them on your own. You really have to have an entirely different muscle than what a musician had to do before, because you have to self-promote on the internet, and then you have to ignore the trolls, which the internet is full of. Because one thing social media gives everyone is the same size soapbox. And some people stand on that soapbox and they really have nothing good to say about anything to anybody. They're just there to shoot people down. That's what they do. And they come off to me like they say things to people that you wouldn't tolerate from your drunk uncle at a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
He's out on the curb right now. I think the other thing too is that in my opinion, the other thing is that when Paul and I first started in the business, if you got noticed by a label, the label would sign you to a 5-record deal, and they would let you put out 3 or 4 bad albums. And they had a team that would surround you. Hopefully, you were the kind of artist that trusted this team that the label had put around you. And I'm talking about A&R people, producers, if you had your own musicians, if you didn't. And you would be kind of not only guided, but, artistically directed. And so, there's great stories about artists that developed here. David Geffen talks about him all the time, the great media mogul, just how he signed this guy who the secretary liked his picture, who ended up in the trash can because that's where David put his first song. And
David was not the best judge of everything.
Yeah, and that was Jackson Browne. And so these artists developed with the help of a label over time. Now, because of, and I think it should go back to the way it was, and that's simply because when Napster first came out, everybody knows the digital revolution, and Napster supposedly ruined all the income stream from the record labels. Well, now the record labels are making more money than they've ever made in the history of the music business because of streaming and this constant source of revenue that is coming in, but they're still not developing the artist. So if you're a new artist, it is still beholden on you as we currently speak to make sure that you have this platform, which is social media and the equal footing, and
you're out there
and get it out there. But the thing you've got to do is what Plastic Culture is doing, what Make Believe Friends is doing, is constantly writing, constantly making product, constantly getting better and an expert.
Show up on a podcast.
Right. You got to do whatever you can do, and the live performances are still an integral part of that. You've got to get in front of people.
Yeah, when we get back to it fully, it will be a return to that.
Right.
And people are really, really, really hungry for live music.
One of the good
people I come in contact with.
One thing we're kind of blessed with is that Mindy's better at social media than me. So she kind of handles the social media and does a good job with it and stuff. And I'm kind of more the nuts and bolts person. It's kind of like the back
You're
end.
the lawyer.
Nuts and bolts.
You take care of all the law stuff, right?
Yeah.
So Mark and Paul, I'm not trying
Yes.
to get at you guys like in a bad way, but you've seen the old and the new, right? You've experienced it. What advice do you have for Plastic Cultural, and what advice would you have for Laura and Mindy, to get them to that next level to where they want to be at?
Well, okay, since I see Mark is kind of like waiting for a second to see if I'll take it. I'll take it. Do everything you can to get in front of people, whether it's people inside the industry or outside the industry. We were having a conversation the other day, and Nora was included. And what she was saying is very true. You never know who's in the audience when you play live, especially if you're in the Valley or in LA. There's a lot of people, and people get discovered that way. And that's how, there's a guitarist that was my artist of 2020, rediscovering Orianthi, who's an Australian, kind of has been stuck in America throughout. She had been discovered by Michael Jackson as the guitarist in Carrie Underwood's band, I believe. And Michael Jackson saw a show and just went, I want you to be the guitarist in my band. And she was rehearsing when he unfortunately took that drug that has taken many people from us all over the place, fentanyl, which was an anesthesiologist drug, should have never been turned into a drug for pain patients or anybody with any kind of pain. So Michael Jackson, Tom Petty, Prince, they all had the same thing. But not to digress on that, the thing is that you have to you have to take every opportunity you have and fill your dance card. And you do have to develop the skills, like legally. That's a good skill to have. Everybody in my family thought I should be a lawyer because I could relentlessly argue a case. But that comes, I don't back down. But that comes in good when I do talk radio, but it also comes in good when I'm working on behalf of an artist. I'll be relentless with somebody. And what you guys all need as musicians is somebody who's putting the foot in the door, and to also always be putting yourself forward in any kind of situation you can. And even to the point of when you feel like I don't have any energy for this, just meeting and greeting people and being there and hanging out after a show and being nice to people, even when they've had 5 drinks and they're breathing on you. You just really need to make people happy. And music is something that makes people happy. Yes. It's something that makes us it's very unique as a species.
And for me, the bottom line is, for anybody who wants to make it in music, it's got to be the song. You've got to deliver the song. It's just got to be one to start with, but it's a song that's going to connect universally with a lot of different people. Obviously, developing your stage act, developing your ability to interact with those that come and see you, but it's about ultimately your songwriting skill.
And how it gets in there.
Never stop. Yeah, it's you gotta get in my ear and not let me leave your ear. That's what's got to happen. Don't chase trends. You make the trend. You figure that out. But it's all about the song. It's all up to you. That's what's going to get you through the door.
I like that. Mark, you're dropping some knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a video from Plastic Culture.
Well, tell us about this song. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
It was recorded in 2020 at Takeover Live Studios when we were doing a lot of live streamings, which helped to build our following. But I'm going to back off and let Kaylin talk about it because she's like the songwriter and the lyrics.
Going back to what we were talking about too, luckily we just played a show May 8th at a pretty iconic waterfront little concert area, and it was called Sea Legs on the beach, and they have this stage, and it just, the point of talking about people wanting music, it's so true because we got like an amazing response and people were just loving it and singing along with us, and it was just like a really great feeling. So I do agree with you guys on that. I do think it's coming back, and it already is coming back.
I think that there's going to be a great response for artists that apply themselves and put their best foot forward.
Yes.
Because people are dying for music.
Yes.
Now the big dogs are already taking everything up, but if you're coming up and you have great music, you're good.
Yeah. So that aside, Home is Where the Heart Is. That was written, I mean, a lot of these songs that are released, that we released last year, I was like 18 when I wrote it. And it's kind of just about being out of like the city life and like LA and the crazy busy go all the time, and kind of just finding like either nature or tropical type of jungleness that you like, or like the beach, or just something where you could go and relax and just like just feel like you're not so busy and you're not so bombarded with so much stuff and so stressed. So it's kind of like about going wherever you like nature or whatever, and finding that and making that like your home,
quick, I wanted to jab in with Mindy and Laura on, talk a little bit about the management team.
Sure. On management team, the person we've used the past for our band London Rain, which then became Make Believe Friends, was an attorney, Mr. Dennis Kennelly. He has a law firm out of Beverly Hills, and he managed the band for us, helped take us on a tour to Europe, UK. Got me endorsed by High Watt, which is behind me, so I get to put them up, which is nice. They paid for a lot of the tour. And then since then, now we're kind of transitioning, which I'm kind of hoping it's Mindy's husband will kind of take the reign at this point, because he's kind of the perfect manager, salesman, everything. So that's kind of our hope, that he takes or joins up with Dennis and takes over, which would be great. The two of them could work together. And then when Mark and Paul get their morning show together, maybe they can help with that.
I see what's going on there.
7 years of at the mast.
Yeah, and so
morning show.
How long have you guys been going at this right now?
Only 3. Well, Make Believe Friends is only basically about 3 years, but we lost 1.5 years with the pandemic. We
of course.
started the first year, and the second year we launched a musical. We did a musical together. We created one of our songs called American Stranger. We played at the Fringe Festival Hollywood, and we won a bunch of awards at the Fringe Festival for our musical, which was really great. They want us to do an updated one. We were thinking about doing that, then the pandemic hit, right? We were going back into live band mode. So we're just now getting back in live band form. So so it sort of started out, got things going, did a musical that did really well, pandemic hit, and now we're starting again.
Right. And just one other thing that's important for those that are starting out is you're seeing a perfect example of somebody that, has a day job, has this whole other life, but then has got this artistic side that they're trying to explore. Now, I mean, is this something that you'd give everything else up for just for the artistic side? Or is this just something that you'd always want to kind of keep over that way? If that question even makes sense.
Well, on my end, this is, because I have, kids raised and all that kind of stuff. And so for me, it's sort of like I put my family first. Outside of that, I put my music second. Believe it or not, I put my job third, because my job I kind of do by rote. So this music takes 10 times more energy than my day job.
Yeah.
So, and if I didn't have it, I'd be bored to death. I would just probably shoot myself in the head, because a day job, raising kids and everything is wonderful. I love it, but this is my expression. This is what I'm about. So this is everything.
On my birthday Sunday, I did my radio show. That was the best thing I could have done with my birthday, of birthday love from the listeners. I wanted to point to Plastic Culture and to Caitlin and Eddie on this one too, because they're, the kind of emerging artists breaking out of LA and finding some traction. So, what is your focus right now? How much time do you guys spend writing, rehearsing, and then pushing your music out there to other people? What is your focus of those 3 things? What do you do the most?
Right now we have about 2 or 3 songs in the works, and we're in the middle of going to different studios, so we kind of took a little pause on them, like a 2-week pause on them. But as of right now, we're really working on booking shows and booking festivals and booking just bigger, us to open up for bigger acts, and like I said, we found Mr. Lobster, and we found Mr. King that have these doors and they could open it, and they have already showed us and have told us and have let us know. And so that's what we're focusing on. And with rehearsing, we do it about 2-3 times every week.
The pandemic has been crazy for a lot of people, for everyone. And for me, this is I'm used to having to make the best out of whatever comes at me, because that's just life, and that's a lot of people. And the opportunity to I didn't leave my job. I was working good money as an aerospace technician, but when the pandemic hit, everybody was let go. Yeah. And it really gave me the opportunity to really focus on a real passion, which is music. And
then we noticed that's when we really started really moving forward and really jumping. When he was working half of his life away, we didn't have time. I couldn't book this. I couldn't do that. I had to, I'm sorry, I can't go here because he has to work at whatever. So there was a lot of opportunities that we missed because of the job or the day job. So it was a weird kind of, and I hate to say this because it's a horrible, awful disease, but it was a weird kind of blessing in disguise for us in the sense where we really got to hit it hard in 2020. And we did. We hit it really, really hard because we had plans, like we said in the last podcast before that, we were going to tour in Japan. We were going to hit the 20 territories over there. So we were all excited. We were giddy. But then, the pandemic hit. So we had to completely change our whole plan around. And we had to book shows over here, and we had to do it all virtually. We had to do it with just cameras in our face and no audiences. It was really weird, but we did it. And I'm thankful that we did because we grew a following with that. We didn't want to give up. We were releasing singles, and we didn't want to have a pandemic be the reason why we stopped.
2020 was going to be our year. And we just had to adapt with the changes that unfortunately just were inflicted on everybody. And I felt like, since we lived that life where you're working and you're also like, since we're not on a label or we don't have a manager or any of that, you're basically funding yourself. But we felt like we had it to a point which was great, that we had our professional recordings, we had enough connections and enough confidence within ourselves and our ability, and from what we've seen playing live as well, to move forward with it. And that's why I think we're in the position now where, now that the reopening's happening, we're hopping on some of our first festivals with big acts. First one in San Diego, but I'm happy and thankful. Like, the pandemic has been really bad for a lot of people, like I said, but we just try to make the best out of the worst situation.
And it's making lemonade out of lemons, because I would think that as a creative person, and I don't know, I mean, I'm in radio, but as an artist, if you have a time where you're not touring, you're not doing all this other work, then what you would be doing is developing the fundamental skill that will eventually make it for you, which is the song. And as I had mentioned in our previous podcast, it's like, during the pandemic, if you weren't touring and you weren't out on the road, you should have 50 songs that are that you've got 5 jewels that are ready to go on your next EP that are going to knock everybody out. I mean, that's kind of the goal. And I'm just wondering, for Mindy and Laura and all you guys, do you feel that the pandemic gave you that opportunity to do that, and do you feel like you were able to create better with that kind of a songwriting craft as a result of not being able to do anything?
I have to just say she really managed the pandemic well with 2 young kids, and pulled off this and all the things I was throwing at her and all the things the world was throwing, everything else. So
yeah,
I really felt like it wasn't as bad for me what she did. Surprised she didn't shoot me. So
well, and I just feel like
wait till after the podcast.
No, like from a musical standpoint, literally right before the pandemic, we were getting ready to play live shows as now Make Believe Friends after transitioning from being London Rain. And when that happened, we just immediately were like, what are we gonna do? And we recorded 4 songs during the pandemic. And we also started hosting our own open mic night because via Zoom, because we missed having that, because we had a group that we were going to we were going almost every week, and just met all these amazing musicians, and it was fun just jamming with them and collaborating. And so we're like, it was actually Laura's idea, but let's do our own open mic. And we started doing that, and we made the most of this time that could have been so depressing and so discouraging. And we really turned it into something amazing. And now we've gotten to meet so many more people, and we are getting to meet them in person. They've come to some of our acoustic shows because we're playing acoustic, and we're going to go to see them. And it's just moving forward. We've grown so much from this year that seemed like it could have been a loss, but we really did, I feel, make the most of it.
That's one thing we did. We developed an acoustic show along with our full band show because of the pandemic. So now we can play as a trio or 4-piece, whatever, as acoustic band, which we really didn't have before. So so we've been playing at like restaurants downtown LA and things like that. And so it was kind of like, hey, we did get something out of it too.
What 2020 taught us, for any artist, it's definitely to pivot and to be, I think it was the year of creativity, because nobody had a choice, really. What are we going to do with our time, right? Okay, let's just write 5 songs. Let's knock it out. Do some virtual stuff. Here we go. I have to say that maybe it got you guys to, really put yourselves out there more, a little bit more. Would you agree with that?
I think you had to put yourself out there more. You had to reach out on social media more. You had to do the streaming. The acoustic thing is absolutely brilliant that you guys were doing. And it's interesting because I know with Plastic Culture, they've got a rotating group of musicians. Some are more the same. And I'm Make Believe Friends. You guys are doing the same thing. You're kind of rotating in musicians, and which can be challenging. And, if you're lucky enough to have a whole group of the same people around you, you're all in the fight together. But that brings up kind of interesting expense issues, bringing people in. But I think you guys have all been doing the right things, and your music, I'm very impressed with the both of you.
It's this time where you have to, to use a cliche, everybody knows that cliches become cliches for a reason, but you have to think out of the box. And it forced everybody to think out of the box. And on the aspect of radio, we're used to not having an audience. Lauren and Mark both know this. You don't hear a response. Theater of the mind, right? Theater of the mind. Yeah, but you have no idea if people are laughing or if they're tuning out. You just don't know what all you know is you have to trust your instincts for it. And I think this made musicians drop back to their instincts and their core and why they do music to begin with. And it's how I rediscovered Orianthi, who did a live stream from the Whiskey A Go-Go and is about to do another one, partnering with these organizations that had just sprung up to do live streaming during the pandemic. And I was watching what she was putting out there. She had a little home studio, and every day she'd sit there and play some guitar, whether it was electric, acoustic, or slide guitar, or whatever. And I was getting to watch her hands and watch what she was doing with the guitar, even though I can't play. Bass is as close as I got because these are mallets. You can't play 6 strings with these fingers. And so I would watch to see what she was doing. And her fingering was just fantastic. Neil Schon of Journey's been doing the same thing, sitting in his home studio, picking one of his 60 million guitars. Which one am I going to play today? Oh, the 59 Sunburst. Okay. Today's Gibson day, and whatever it is, getting to be intimate with them in a way you're not on stage. So it opened up this avenue for musicians that they really were forced to explore. What we're doing right now is an example of it. The fact that all of us are talking together at the same time on Zoom. And it's the beauty of a podcast also that, if it was broadcast, 6 o'clock, there would have been a top of the hour news.
We've already passed the 6 o'clock mark.
Yeah.
Let's go to commercials really quick, and we're going to wrap up the show, and let's just keep continuing. How about that?
We'll be right back after this.
Hold on.
The Chumash people have stood proud along the California coast for thousands of years. Today, we stand for education. With our tribal youth high school graduation rate at 100%, we stand for giving. As contributors of more than $25 million to the community, we stand for the environment, diverting 90% of our waste stream from landfills. And we stand for wellness, serving 3,000 patients from our health clinic. We are the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians, standing proud with the Valley Cultural Foundation.
Good morning. At Amazon, we have husbands and wives that work together, daughters and mothers that work together, and we feel like a family together.
You driving home, right?
Don't always.
My name is Deontay, and I work with my fiance, Tiara. It's just fun to work with my best friend.
My
daughter. We rely on everybody else. It's like a big, huge family. I'm very thankful to have that. Love ya. Love you. The type of relationships that you create make you come in with a smile on your face.
And welcome back to the show. We really just want to apologize for the live stream not working. If you did, want to catch the show, make sure you go on to thevalleycultural.org. The YouTube page will be up on there, so you don't want to miss it, because really it was such a fun show. I really enjoyed you guys. You have to join us on June the 3rd when we have the Gays Men Choir of the Los Angeles and our emerging artist Abby Posner. We live stream the 1st and 3rd of every Thursday of each month, so make sure that you are tuning in and watching. So June 27 on our calendar when the concerts return. Don't forget, we have, and that's on a Sunday, with R&B Sounds Terrell Edwards, Brittany Crush, and Aviva. And also Councilman Bob Bloomingfield's July 4th extravaganza, hosted by the Woodland Hills Porsche, with opening acts Alunis and main acts is Ticket to Ride. And make sure you head on to valleycultural.org for all the information.
Keep working on the song. Keep working at your craft. It'll happen.
Don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
We'll leave it with
We're
that.
gonna. So, Mark and Paul, we're gonna send you guys our new release coming out in July.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. But I love what you're doing with the Valley Cultural Center and the crew there, and Nora and Calypso. I mean, really great job. This is only your 6th time, so all these little technical things, because I've been producing the Will and Willie show.
Thank you,
a comedian and a politician, a political comedian, political icon, and I'm the producer and moderator. So I have to tether the balloons for the conversation. But what I'm saying is that every time we do it, and we started it in 2006. Every time we do it, there's some other thing that I find that we could do better the next time.
Of course.
So you're only on number 6.
Yeah. And thank you, Laura Ross. She drives us nuts, and we drive her nuts. So it's an even trade.
I started following Make Believe Friends. I'm Mark Wallengren on social media. If you can spell, it's spelled just like it sounds, Wall-N-Gren. Look forward to talking to you guys.
He's wearing a nice tuxedo outfit.
And Calypso, thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much. Good luck to you all. And you guys are going to come back to us, okay? When the show is live in person, that'd be awesome. Thank you,
Arts
guys.
are on the move here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arts on the move.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.